So now I know what moviegoers must have felt like when they saw Halloween 3 Season of the Witch for the first time. "10 Cloverfield Lane" stars John Goodman, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and is directed by Dan Trachtenberg. So before I get going on this review, guys, let me just say that this will be a spoiler-free review for the first part, and then after I give my rating, I'm going to talk about some spoiler stuff. So let's enter the spoiler-free zone. So one thing that some might think is a spoiler, but I think it's pretty safe to say at this point, this is not your traditional Cloverfield movie. This is not a direct sequel to Cloverfield. It's not a film like that at all. And I don't think that's a spoiler because I think most people know this going in. And if you didn't know that, I'm actually doing you a favor right now by telling you that, because I don't want you to get your hopes up. And also I think you will enjoy this movie that much more going in knowing that it is nothing like the 2008 big monster movie, Cloverfield. So in Cloverfield, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, she plays Michelle. The beginning of the movie, she is leaving her husband, and then all of a sudden she gets into this big car accident. And so she wakes up in the basement of John Goodman's house. And she is really disoriented. She notices that her leg is chained to the wall. So automatically she thinks she has been kidnapped. And we are in her shoes because we don't know if she's been kidnapped or not. And so that's where the ride begins. And first and foremost, let me just say, I love how there is just a sense of paranoia throughout this whole movie. You as the viewer are completely guessing throughout. And what's interesting is Michelle is also guessing throughout this movie. So you are kind of discovering things together. Mary Elizabeth Winstead is one of my favorite actresses working today. I think she is so underrated. I loved her in the Thing prequel. I thought she was the best part of that movie. She kind of reminds me of Sigourney Weaver when she was young. She was also really great in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. And every time she is in a movie, I'm interested in seeing it. I just really think she plays that strong woman archetype very well. And this movie's no exception. She really is the best part of this movie, from start to finish. There's just so much tension throughout this movie, and it's basically because of her. You see everything through her eyes. Also, John Goodman plays the part of Howard really well. He's really creepy, and he keeps you guessing throughout. You are not sure who he is as a character. He doesn't really give anything away as a character. Really, the whole story never gives anything away. And I love movies like this. I mean, this almost feels like a horror movie. It's definitely a horror thriller. Great horror thrillers don't come along that often, so this was a pleasant surprise. Now, as far as any cons for this movie, John Goodman does a great job, but me personally, I would have been interested if they would have went with maybe a younger and more kind of elusive, darker type actor. Two actors that come to mind, Ray Liotta in Something Wild. He was really this charismatic actor with a dark, psychotic edge. He was really the best part of that movie. And then also another one is Billy Zane from Dead Calm. I think if the character of Howard would have been played by someone that's a little leaner, more dangerous, then this might have been even better. And also my biggest complaint with this movie is using the name Cloverfield. Is it in the same universe? Yeah, I guess you could say that, but I went into this movie knowing that this is not gonna be anything like the 2008 movie, but I still had that cloud over my head throughout the whole thing. I was still thinking about, the monster or something, close to that of the monster, and I'd say 95% of this movie is nothing like that. But like Halloween 3, I think over time, this is a movie I'm gonna really, really love, actually. And I can already tell you, I think it's better than the 2008 movie, even though the two movies are just very, very different. So for that, I'm gonna give 10 Cloverfield Lane a purchase worthy. Okay, so now we're gonna talk a little spoiler talk. So if you haven't seen the movie, then I suggest not watching from here on out. Now, even though I mentioned that the character of Howard, I would have liked him to have been maybe younger, maybe leaner, I still think John Goodman had some great moments in this movie. And I gotta say, I was always guessing with the character of Howard. And I liked that it wasn't so predictable. You know, I really thought in the beginning of the movie, he is just a guy trying to survive. He's a little crazy, you know, he seems like a conspiracy theorist, but he happened to be right. Or at least at one point you thought he happened to be right. But I thought the way it all unfolded and him being this, you know, psychotic, perverted type character, I think it worked out really well. And the one scene that really came to mind was with the character Emmett. And he was pretty much giving his life up for Michelle. And Howard kills him right there on the spot, no regrets. And that moment alone lets you know, okay, this guy is really just freaking crazy out of his mind. And the big thing I want to talk about is the very end of the movie, you know, the reveal of the aliens. This section of the movie really reminded me of War of the Worlds. You know, the aliens even kind of resembled them a little bit. I just didn't find the aliens part of this movie that interesting. I thought that it could have actually stopped at a certain point without having all the alien stuff in there. But I do like that it was left wide open for a sequel. And the character Michelle, she chooses to actually go to New Orleans to help instead of running from it. So I'm actually interested in seeing if a sequel to this comes about. So anyway guys, that's my spoiler talk for 10 Cloverfield Lane. What did you guys think of this movie? Looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to my channel, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and Drumdum out.